Hello, John Bruna here with the Daily Quote. Waking up today, up in my home in the Rocky Mountains, very grateful to have been helped by so many people. And it's my inspiration each and every morning that I can to record just a bit of wisdom that has helped me with the aspiration to be able to help others. So hopefully you find some of these quotes each day meaningful, maybe extract some practical sense that you can apply to your own life, and maybe you'll find it can help you in some ways that it has helped me. That's the aspiration here. So I'm grateful to have the opportunity to try to give back a little. Let's go ahead and get to today's guidance. A quote for today. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Albert Einstein. Well, technically, we're always changing. The problem is that we don't really recognize that. Albert Einstein points out in a bigger context of his quote, the ability to change consciously. We're always changing, right? I'm not the person I was a week ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. And I'm actually always in a state of becoming, in a state of change. Matter of fact, how I feel right now is not how I felt an hour ago and won't be necessarily how I'll feel 2 hours from now. So there's this ongoing change. My body's changing, my abilities are changing. And what Albert Einstein's pointing out here is we can develop the ability to change consciously, to improve, and to adapt in ways that are really meaningful for us and not be trapped by old views and perceptions of ourselves that just aren't true. For example, I have always thought that I was not very good with language. And I had trouble even learning to speak when I was young, could not enunciate very well, and required speech therapy actually to speak English. Kind of ironic that I speak for a living now, but yeah, I couldn't speak very well. And then the idea of language, pronunciation, so forth, very difficult for me. Well, when I became a monk and I lived in India and everyone speaks Tibetan, pretty fascinating how when you're in that environment, you can start learning Tibetan and, some pretty important words like, where's the bathroom and things around your needs for food and etc. And pretty soon you start being able to say things like Shvainku so debo impe, um, and so my view was that would be a very difficult thing to do. And in fact, when I'm there, it wasn't very difficult. The ways that I view myself for so much of my life was very limited, right? I wasn't very smart was one of mine. I had a big impression of myself when I was in middle school, and we call it junior high back then, and was placed in a advanced math class. So my view was I wasn't good at math. I was misplaced here, and so clearly I didn't do very well in class. Sat in the back and everything. Later on in college, I would discover that I actually have pretty good aptitude for math. Logic comes to me very easily, but I never knew that. As a matter of fact, even enrolling in college, I thought it would be, really difficult. I didn't enroll until much later in life. I was in my 30s, and turned out I was a pretty good student and even graduated magna cum laude and had some awards. But my perception of myself was very limited. And so Albert Einstein's letting us know that we can change our view of ourselves. We can change who we are. We can adapt to the environments we're in. We have an incredible amount of capacity that is totally untapped and limited by the old views of ourselves, things that we thought about ourselves when we were much younger, limit our ability to recognize our ability for change, for growth, for improvement. There's a old analogy of the elephant that gets tied to a chain. When there's a baby elephant, he can, as an adult, pull that chain out really easily and go do whatever he wants. But He was chained up when he was a little baby elephant, and it hurt and it was painful to even try. And so the elephant learned that it wasn't strong enough, wasn't capable enough. And now it's a big elephant. It can easily do that, but it doesn't know it's capable. Likewise, we have a lot of beliefs about ourselves from our youth, from our experiences in our youth that just don't hold up anymore. They keep us bound and chained to a belief system about our limitations. And so the opportunity today is to tug on that chain, tug on all those chains of beliefs that we have about ourselves, explore them and learn which ones are true and which ones are not. And in this way, we can start to change consciously in ways that we find meaningful, developing the skills, the abilities that align with the values of the person we want to be. There's a whole lot of untapped potential there. So let's explore that as best we can. Do you find this helpful?